The argument that female anime characters are never given a fair chance has been a long-running debate for years. Despite the amazing series we've been given that prove that female characters can be written well, the argument still holds up for a majority of anime seen today. My Hero Academia is criticized for not properly utilizing its female cast, and the women in Solo Leveling don't have much significance beyond being related to or crushing on Sung Jinwoo. However, Crunchyroll's newest flagship shonen anime, Gachiakuta, has done something different in its latest episode. With Samu Greer, Amo Empool, Aishia Stilza, and Tommy Mima, the Gachiakuta has one of the best female casts yet, although Rio Reaper is the only one who has made it into the anime's main cast. With protagonist Ruto Surbrek as well as Zonka Nijiku, she makes up the trio of givers who've been taken under Engine's wing. Recently, the group has been caught in a trap and separated by some fearsome enemies, Gachiakuta. Episode 18, Oh Zap, Totes Legit, sees Rio overcoming not just one, but two of these enemies while taking an unsettling step into her history, giving anime fans everything they could want in a good and fleshed-out character. In Gachiakuta's Trash Storm arc, the main cast was separated and given their own enemy to face off against. Thus far, most of the focus has been on Zonka's character and his rematch with Jabber Wonger, which ultimately ended in the latter's bitter and brutal defeat. The anime's entire viewership held their breath as Zonka's fate was practically sealed with the first wounds inflicted by Jabber's toxin-coated blades. Fortunately, the tide finally turned in the cleaner's favor in episode 18. Rio arrived at the scene and saved her battered teammate from the crazed raider's clutches, but not before having dealt her own adversary a punishing defeat. The full breadth of her strength and skill was on full display during her showdown with Noerde Huamozo. Although Noerde and her vital instrument initially proved to be a challenge for Rio, Rio was easily able to overcome the obstacle with her Ripper until her opponent finally revealed her weakness. The pair momentarily set aside their vital instruments and proceeded to carry on their fight in one of the most vicious hand-to-hand combat scenes in modern anime. The caverns in which they fought were nearly destroyed until Rio pulled an underhanded move. She allowed Noerde to underestimate her long enough to pull out a gun. The fact that Rio owns a firearm in the first place is actually an alarming detail, as Noerde reveals that possessing one is a telltale sign of being an assassin. Rio makes no effort to deny this accusation. She admits to having been a killer for hire under a completely different boss before ominously saying that she has since parted ways. Rio also claims that it's Engine who keeps her from killing again, and that she refuses to stain Ripper's blades in human blood again, alluding to the possibility that it was Team Akuta's leader who found her and gave her a new life as a cleaner, perhaps after she had murdered her old boss. Up until this point, Rio has been an upbeat and positive presence in the cast. She hypes up her teammates and was incredibly welcoming of Ruto, despite his odd nature. However, this scene with Noerde shows just how jaded and ruthless Rio is. Underneath her playful smiles and laid-back disposition, she shoots Noerde with no hesitation and finds no qualm in using the gun to torture information out of her. This same brutality is seen yet again when she shoots Jabber down in order to rescue Zanka. The anime industry as a whole does have a handful of well-written and nuanced heroines who are the protagonists of their own series. The titular character of Frieren, Beyond Journey's End, and Mao Mao from the Apothecary Diaries are hailed as the most unique and layered anime characters of the decade. Momo Ayase from Donda Daeon is a breath of fresh air with her rebellious spirit and relentless determination. Even older series like 2006's Uran High School Host Club or 1997's Revolutionary Girl Utena had leading heroines who were ahead of their time. The issue in the industry is that the quality and depth of main heroines are rarely ever extended to the female side characters of other anime, especially the shonen subgenre. Rio's curiosity about Ruto, as well as her flirtatious nature, initially had some viewers pegging her as another female shonen side character with an insatiable crush on the protagonist, which is a trope that has been done to death. Hinata Hyuga from the Naruto franchise, and Orihime Inu from Bleach, for example, have their entire character and development written to center around the main hero. Even My Hero Academia's Uraraka Ochako, despite her incredibly compelling arc with Himiko Toga, somewhat follows this trend, as their conflict began with their shared affection for Izuku Midoriya. Bleach's Rukia is one of few rare exceptions to the trope. However, while Naruto's Sakura Haruno eventually grew to be a stronger character as the series progressed, her development was still dependent on her male teammates, and she was given significantly less focus despite being a part of the main trio. Although it's not considered shonen, Solo Leveling is an anime whose female characters are hardly memorable aside from their connection to the series' main hero. Sung Jina is simply Jinwoo's peppy younger sister, and Cha Hae-in, despite being introduced as a powerful hunter, was brutally placed at death's door, just so Jinwoo could save her life and further her infatuation for him. Ryo proves herself to be leagues away from being an overdone cliché. She is flirtatious with Ruto, but that's simply a part of her overall nature on the surface. Ryo is one of the most skilled cleaners in Gachiakuta, and has been working with Engine even longer than Zanka. She cares so deeply for her comrades that she isn't afraid to break promises and play dirty to protect them. Ryo is a source of encouragement for her friends and colleagues, and has confidence in them as well as her own prowess. She is one of Ruto's mentors, and despite her dark past, she is the one who sheds light on the meaningful nature of his gift.